Today on Overwatch This, BlizzCon has come and gone and Sombra is finally here, and we talk about what the Overwatch League could mean for the game in the years to come. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 7 of Overwatch This. It is Joel here with Ben once again.
Hello.
And we are going to kick off today's show talking about BlizzCon. So we've talked about it a lot, but it's actually happened now. So it's post BlizzCon rather than pre-BlizzCon.
Pre-BlizzCon.
Well. So pre-BlizzCon. Jeez. Anyway,
it's pre-BlizzCon 2017.
Yeah, that's true. You were there. How was it?
It was really good. Like, it's always good. Like, it's. I honestly think that you could take out like all the kind of, you know, it's a show to sell a bunch of video games, and the people that go there and the fun like of just seeing people who bloody love Blizzard games, and they're all WoW players, and their guild is there, and all the rest of it, and there's a billion cosplayers. I think all of that would still be there, and it would still be an excellent show. As far as actual news went, slightly quiet, like compared to last year where there was like a blowout of WoW Legion information. Year before that was the Overwatch announcement. That's probably the biggest BlizzCon ever. So as they go, it was fairly quiet, but you know, it's still just loads of fun.
So the big thing as it pertains to the show that we're making right now was obviously that Sombra is finally here.
Yeah, there she is.
She looks cool. I thought the video was great.
Yeah, it was. It was really cool, and like everyone knew that the way they would present it is she would like hack the stage or something, and that's exactly what they did. But I think they did it in the best way possible. They didn't have like Jeff Kaplan come out and have to do some terrible acting. He did some fairly poor acting in a video instead. They like made this video where it's pretending to be launch night and the servers aren't working, and then she like hacks into the video itself. On the stream, it was okay. Like I watched the stream version of it afterwards, and it was fine. But like in the arena, like when she hacks in, the whole place went black, and they like flashed the lights once, and then it was just like darkness for like a couple of seconds, and then they started playing like this glitch out thing that was super loud. And it was really well put together, and obviously everyone was going like nuts as soon as the first video started glitching because everyone realized what was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the video was really good. Her reveal, like for something that everyone knew was going to happen, it was as good as it could have been.
I think that's true, isn't it? Like we all knew it was happening, and it was still quite cool when it happened. Looking at her sort of trailer, she looks like she's just going to wreck the place, basically.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of reaction immediately that was like, no, this is you've lost it, Kaplan. This is the end. And she's going to be impactful. She's going to be hugely impactful. Obviously, adding like a 23rd hero to a game with only 22 is always going to have some amount of effect. It's not like adding a Dota hero or a League of Legends hero where you're one of 100 at that stage. But her abilities are very unique. She just doesn't play in the same way to other heroes, and her ultimate, like that, just stops anyone doing anything in an area is, that is very, very powerful. But if you compare it to Reinhardt, for example, who has a massive AoE stun, not only does he stop you using your abilities for however long, he stops you moving or shooting or anything.
Yeah.
So there are comparisons, and her abilities, like her teleport is a little like Tracer's teleport and a little like Reaper's teleport. And her
I like
stealth.
her teleport. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
It's like a teleporty grenade.
Yeah, it is super cool, and like it just works in so many different ways. Like you can use it to get over a barrier, or you can use it to place something so that you've got somewhere to retreat to safely. Like that's how people have mostly been using it in the early days, because obviously like nobody knows how to play her yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she'll definitely have an impact like on every area of the game. Obviously, like on launch day and on the PTR at the moment, every game has a Sombra in it. Or 6v6 Sombras if you're playing like the No Limits mode. But yeah, I think she'll have an impact at every level, and if she doesn't, honestly, they'll tweak her so she does. Like, they want all of their heroes to be played.
Yeah, so you played her at the show. As you say, it's difficult to know given the environment you're in. It was just Sombra on Sombra crime. But like, what did you think? How did it feel?
Yeah, I played her at the show, and the 6v6s were like they were nonsense. But I've also managed to play her a little bit on the PTR so far. Thankfully, I bought an SSD when I bought my new computer, so I load in a little faster than everyone else, letting me play the character. And yeah, like she's really fun. Like the one thing I was worried about when I was playing at the show is it didn't seem like her gun did very much damage. It's kind of like Tracer's pistols, but doesn't have the same damage level. I think it's like a couple of points lower, but it does have an absolutely humongous clip, so you can kind of just left click on people until they fall over.
I was going to say, looking at it, that seems like that has to be the point, given her various other powers as well. Like to have a super powerful machine gun
Yeah,
would seem a bit mad.
If she was putting out damage at like the same rate as a tracer who can aim or a reaper who is standing next to you, like that would be bonkers. That would be totally broken. Like she'd be able to move around the map so quickly and stuff. But yeah, like she does do enough damage. And the other thing is that her ult, which as we spoke about, is very different and very powerful. Builds fairly quickly.
Right.
Not only like if you can actually get like a tank in front of you and you're backpedaling trying to get away and you're managing to get a few headshots on them, so you're doing decent damage. A, you'll rip through the health pool, and B, you'll like build that ult really really quickly. And she also has this thing where she can hack health packs, which is
that's my favorite.
It's so cool. Like
I thought that was great.
That's like the thing where you're like, oh okay, that's the level above where it's something super different. Here's something that not only have you not seen in Overwatch, but you haven't really seen it in a game.
I thought it was really clever. It's like ability trolling as well. I loved it.
Really good. Like she's such a troll in like everything she does. And yeah, so when you hack a friendly health pack, it makes it respawn faster. Or sorry, if you hack any health pack, it becomes a friendly health pack. So the opponents can't use it. It respawns 3 times faster. It means like the small health packs respawn in like a second and a half or something.
Right.
And it also gives you healing credit for it, which means you can get a medal for healing, which is great. But also that charges your ult even more. So if you hack a big health pack and your tanks know that it's there and they're regularly rotating back to it, you're getting your ult just like immediately. And it like if she can use her ult every fight or like fairly regularly, she is like unreal powerful. Like she will shut down your team, and she'll counter enemy ults and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I think she's going to be hugely impactful. She's loads of fun to play, and as I said, I wrote an article about this on PC Games Then. You can go check it out. She proves that they really, unsurprisingly, the Blizzard like A squad of designers who've been working on World of Warcraft and stuff for the last 15 years really know what they're doing when it comes to designing abilities and making a game that is unique, no matter who you're playing.
And she's on the PTR now and will be rolled out to the wider world next week?
Soon, TM.
Soon, TM.
Yeah, they don't know when yet. I think they would want to do it next week just because if you kind of look at the future release schedule and the fact there'll be another PTR in December and at some point they're going to have to like introduce all these skins and the Season 3 of competitive play starts relatively soon. It starts on December 1st and it cuts off, Season 2 ends the week before. You would expect it to be soon, but obviously if there's some kind of horrendous game-breaking bug or if they want to tweak her numbers or if they want to tweak like the dozen other changes they've made, which, make the game feel pretty different, then yeah, it could be another week after that again.
Now, I very confidently predicted we'd get a new map and a new mode, I believe, last week. And I'm going to say I was correct, although you could argue that I was wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of a middle of the road on that.
Yeah. So tell us what we've actually got. We've sort of got both and neither at the same time.
Yeah, so there is literally a new map, and on it you can play some new modes.
See,
so I would take Joel's status on this one. But yeah, so they introduced the arcade. The arcade replaces weekly brawls. Because basically they discovered that weekly brawls, while they work really well in Hearthstone, they don't work as well in Overwatch because there aren't as many easily tunable knobs. There is as much going on, if not more, in a game of Overwatch as there is in Hearthstone. But Hearthstone, you can be like, oh, okay, you can't use any cards except 2, and that's something totally different.
Sure.
Where the game still sort of works. Whereas with Overwatch, like, what are you going to do? Do you turn the gravity off or something?
Turn the guns off.
Yeah, that just isn't something that they found people were willing to play more than a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like people would play, they go, oh, here's the new brawl. There also weren't any rewards for it, so the arcade comes with rewards. And yeah, so for the arcade, they've now introduced a 1v1 mode where you play a first to 5 of mirror matches. So it just randomly goes, okay, you're both May, and then you play you whoever kills the other one first gets a point, and then you play to first to 5 with that. There's also a 3v3 elimination mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of playing 6v6 and respawning, you play 3v3, and whichever team survives gets a point, and that one's best of 5, so it's
like
first
Rainbow
to 3.
Six Siege meets Overwatch.
Yeah. And those both take place on a new map called Ecopoint on Antarctica, which is very Overwatch
catchy
name. Yeah. Which is May's home base. It also is like fairly small. It's designed for these 1v1 games and these 3v3 games. Doesn't have any objectives. It's just, it's for these deathmatch style games. So yeah, like that is the new modes are the 1v1 and the 3v3. And they take place on a new map, which is Ecopoint Antarctica. But we didn't get like, here is a new payload map.
No.
Or here is a new 6v6 game mode.
But it's still cool, and like it seems to have been received relatively well. It's like you say, it's making a thing that wasn't quite right better, and we've got someone new to play it. So I guess it's good, really.
Yeah, it is good. And the interesting thing is that like the arcade lets them do a lot of stuff. It lets them test game modes. They can use it to be like, oh, okay, so how does an elimination game mode work? And then we could see that become, I mean, the 3v3 mode could become its own kind of competitive thing. I would expect that it's going to turn out that there are some really, really, really good team compositions in 3v3, and like maybe there are only 2 or 3 that are viable. So it's fun to play, like every so often, but it isn't like something that's really competitive. But the amount of fun that is, I would really like to see them like try, for example, a 6v6 mode. With elimination on maybe slightly larger maps that are custom designed for it. And I'm sure that is now something they're thinking about now that this has been positively received. Also, like the 1v1 mode is really fun, and people are going to run tournaments in the 1v1 mode. Like the game is big enough that pretty much whatever's put out there, people are going to run tournaments in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, so they can see that stuff, and now that whatever they do in the future, they can run it past the arcade first. They don't have to worry about slapping a new game mode into competitive and being like, oh, no, that was awful, sorry.
Yeah.
We just ruined competitive for like 3 weeks or something.
Now, the one thing we can't claim to be right about on any level was our predictions of a new graphic novel, because there wasn't one.
Yeah, it didn't show up. Not only was it not mentioned in the Overwatch panel or in the opening ceremony, we had a guy watching the publishing panel where I was like, oh, that's where they'll talk about
You'd
it,
think
definitely.
so, wouldn't you?
And it just didn't show up. They haven't mentioned it. We didn't we had an interview, but we weren't talking to any of the story guys. And honestly, we wanted to talk about the game and that sort of thing. So as far as I know, nobody really knows what's happened to it. It may still just kind of pop up at some point this month or next month or January or something like that. But it is very strange. Maybe it might have been delayed.
Yeah, it's a weird one. You think like that would be the place to do it. It's been a while since the last one. It's just slightly surprising, really.
Yeah, and like I said last week, people are kind of expecting them to expand this universe. That's what they said they were going to do. That they were going to run, animated shorts and comics fairly regularly, and people were expecting one that they can buy, basically, and they don't seem to have yet.
So we are post BlizzCon, and I guess the question now is where we go from here, really. We've got our new character, we've sort of got a new map and mode, but what will be happening from here on out? Because we don't have a big show to kind of run towards, but there will be ongoing changes. So what do we think the next steps are going to be?
No, actually, I think this is it. I think
that's
it. Overwatch 1.5, that'll be the end.
Overwatch 2's out next month. Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just don't worry about it. Yeah, no. So they talked at BlizzCon a little about what's going to happen after the stuff that's on the PTR this week and is coming out either next week or the week after. There is going to be a December PTR. We've kind of now got into a loop where I think we can say that there's going to be a major-ish patch each month. But December might be a little different because obviously there's kind of a 2-week break at the end where they're not going to be doing anything.
Yeah.
But that means that there will still be a testing period that should start in December. And what they spoke about with that was an actual new map.
Right.
Called Oasis. It's a control map, so that's like Ilios and Nepal. King of the Hill type deal where you play best of 5 across 3 different mini maps within one larger map. And they also said it's going to have jump pads, so everyone will be flying around the sky like Farah, basically. But other than that, we don't know a ton about it. There's a little bit of lore. It's kind of like a mechanized paradise, I think they said. But yeah, that's like the major inclusion and like new inclusion that will be in next month's PTR, and that should be pretty good. I think like new maps is something that everybody wants.
Yeah, definitely. And if the game is light on things, or that was this early accusation, then as things roll out, that accusation kind of fades into the background.
Yeah.
But we'll also hopefully finally get the tweet. I can't even remember how long ago it was now. 5 weeks or something. We talked about this kind of Symmetra overhaul. But that should be in December's PTR changes as well, right? Yeah,
they've been talking about this for ages at this point, and I asked about it in our interview that you can also see on PC Games N or on our YouTube channel where you are now, and they said, yeah, we're still working on it. We're still trying to figure out exactly what we want to do. There's loads of different options. They just want to kind of move her away from. She's very, very niche at the moment. There are situations where she is good, but those situations are pretty much when it is a 2-point capture map. She's very good on the first point while you're defending, which, when you put that against like a character like Genji, who's just good most of the time, or a character like Zarya, who is good all of the time, that just, that just isn't as good. And while they are nerfing characters like that are good all of the time, Symmetra does need to be brought up a bit. And yeah, they said during BlizzCon that she would also be on the PTR in December. What's interesting is that her and Oasis, it sounds like, aren't actually going to be coming out until early 2017. Whereas you would expect that to be towards the end of the month. Like we were saying, there is obviously that gap where people are going to be on holiday.
Yeah,
Celebrating Christmas. Even Overwatch game developers need to celebrate your particular Yuletide period. But yeah, it's kind of strange because it does mean that we'll kind of miss a month where we would expect to get a big patch.
But when do I get my Santa skins and my snowman skins?
Well,
that has to come out before 2017. It doesn't make any sense. So there's got to be some sort of drop of goodies before then, right?
Yeah, it's possible that all of that. So in World of Warcraft, which is where a lot of Blizzard's seasonal stuff is kind of like pulled from, that stuff starts on the 1st of December, and I believe it ends on the 31st of December. So what I would expect is that we'll maybe get a small patch. I say small in terms of gameplay effect, but it'll probably be rather large in terms of every other facet, which will be like a bunch of winter skins. Yeah. Assuming that's happening. Now, it's very possible that they kind of spent all their money on making the Halloween stuff, which obviously only just finished. They do literally have all of the money. I
would be astonished. I think you're right. I think that patch will be goodies. Like, it'll just be a goodies patch, basically. And it will have a load of skins, and it'll just be really nice and cheerful. And I just think it'll suit the game so well to have all those skins. I think it's too good an opportunity to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also possible that these will show up in the Sombra patch whenever that is.
Yeah, that's true.
If that doesn't happen until the last week of November, then they might just put them in there.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks from now, you could quite easily dump a load of Christmassy skins. And in fact, that would probably be the time to do it, because otherwise they date really far too fast.
Yeah, they can't be left until like a week into December or 2 weeks into December, because if they want to run it a month, which is what they've done with all of their events so far, or like 3 weeks, that kind of period, you can't just launch them a week before Christmas, because then it's going to be like halfway through January and people are going to be like, I don't really care about this anymore.
And the other thing that we need to talk about was what we politely termed Big Bobby's Big Slip last time.
Oh, yes.
Which is when Bobby Kotick talked about the Overwatch League, obviously slightly ahead of when he was supposed to. But as predicted, it was more than just a flight of fancy in his mind. It was a thing that he knew was about to happen. And lo and behold, it's been announced.
Yeah, I'm really glad this wasn't just me going, Overwatch League, those two words together, maybe it means something. And then Blizzard just being like, what? What are you talking about? So yeah, like the Overwatch League is meant to be it's meant to be NFL, but for a Blizzard video game, and you know what, you're laughing and it is funny. Laughing. It's like, are you kidding? Like, is this the point
I'm laughing mainly because it reminds me of the actual American football NFL spin-off, the XFL, founded by owner of WWF Vince McMahon, which was one of the worst sporting endeavors of all time. That's mainly why I'm laughing, but anything that reminds me of that is a good thing. This will surely be more successfgoing than that.
Well, we'll see. I mean, how many seasons did that last?
I think one.
Okay. I think we might get just past one. But yeah, so you're going to have teams based around cities, and basically what happened is Mike Morhaime came out at the opening ceremony and said salaries and drafting periods and team ownership and making sure that there were fans in place within regions and having loads and loads of different teams and like a world championship and all the rest of this. And then they stopped talking about it. He just came out and said all this stuff, and then they just sold some t-shirts.
Cool.
And it was like, all right. And I asked about it, and I said, you guys aren't on the esports team, but is there anything you can tell me? And they basically went, no,
leave us alone.
Not really.
Stop following.
Can you just leave?
It's a weird one, because the announcement, as you say, was packed with buzzwords, and very rarely do all the buzzwords come to fruition in anything.
Yeah.
But the ambition seems to be potentially absolutely massive if they can get it right. And because it's Blizzard and because of the player base, there is a small chance they will actually get it right. And then it really could be a huge deal.
They haven't given up on something in a very long time. Not something that they made public anyway. There was Project Titan, which is what turned into Overwatch. They gave up on that, that they cancelled it before they announced it properly. There was StarCraft Ghost back in 2006. And that's 2006 is the last time they cancelled anything they'd announced.
But it's more. I mean, it's not that they'll cancel it. It's more how big a success they make of it. But if they make the success of it that they want to and that they're talking about,
it's the biggest thing that's ever happened.
It would be massive as far as esports goes. But as you say, we don't know a lot at the moment except the big sell that they've given us, and I suppose we don't really know when we will know more.
No, not really. It'll be sometime next year. There is a website you can go and have a look. I think it's overwatchleague.com. And it kind of sells this idea of going to college and having a collegiate program, and then you go to I think they call them combines, something like that.
Yeah, that's what the NFL have.
Yeah. Where you go there and you go, hey, look how great I am.
Yeah.
I don't know, playing Lucio, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the NFL, it's things like how quickly you can run 40 yards and how high you can jump. I don't know what the hell it's going to be.
Like, is this going to be like
Overwatch?
Like those online aim tests where you have to like click on the red dot as soon as it pops up and that sort of thing? So yeah, we don't really know. Like the only thing is that I spotted when I was browsing Twitter coming back from the show was somebody saying it bore a lot of similarity to the Championship Gaming series, which was a really short-lived, like it lasted for two seasons, and shut down in 2008. That basically did the same thing. It had a bunch of US cities. I think it had like 4 European cities as well, and a few Australian cities, and then like a few others dotted through the world. And it ran tournaments in games based around these teams that were based in cities. But it had like a bunch of different games. None of the games it ran have ever been big esports. It was like Dead or Alive 4 and like FIFA and like the Counter-Strike that nobody played professionally.
Right.
Like, so,
Good.
There were a lot of disadvantages there. And also it was back in 2008. Like in 2008, StarCraft 2 hadn't come out. League of Legends didn't exist. Dota 2 was a Warcraft 3 custom map.
Simpler times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was when we didn't have to worry about so many things when we're talking about video games. But yeah, so it bears a lot of similarities to that. That was, I mean, I doubt it was as much of a failure as it looks like now. It did manage 2 seasons, not just one,
Yeah.
And that is actually impressive, really, if you think about the climate at the time. But yeah, it's an untested thing. Like you said, the last time somebody tried something like this was the XFL, right? And
yeah, I think all of this talk
involved.
about like the lifestyle ecosystem might end up being a load of waffle, but the fact that it could be like a persistent, ongoing Overwatch esports like ecosystem thing is probably going to be made into reality, and even if it's just that, it'll still be a fairly big deal.
I can't wait to see how it goes.
Yeah,
like,
well, it'll be
interesting,
right, if nothing else. So we'll finish today the same way we finished last week, which is running through the non-Overwatch Blizzard games that were at the show. We had a load of predictions or things we thought might happen. We sort of got some of it right, really.
I think we did okay.
Yeah,
actually,
I think we did it right. So we've got a new Hearthstone expansion. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's called Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. It's based around Gadgetzan. It's
mean. It's got some streets.
Yeah, there's some streets.
It's what we know. It's a new set of cards.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cards coming. We've got an article up on PC Games End with a list of all the new cards. We had an interview with the guys at the show. We'll hopefully get that written up soon for you. But yeah, it's a bunch of new cards. It will be fun. For all the complaints of the Hearthstone community, they'll still buy it en masse. And this will be another great financial quarter, no doubt.
Of course, and that's what's important in this world.
Oh yes.
We've got WoW patch es exclam.
Yeah. So that's what I've written in the notes.
Yeah.
I was just surprised. Like the World of Warcraft team is just absolutely murdering it. Like they are doing everything they could possibly do to make their community happy. Like when so Ian Hazakostas came out and he was doing their What's Next panel, and I was expecting him to go on for at least a little bit about one of the 2 raids that they have announced but not yet released. One of them's out today as we're recording this, and the other one's coming out in January. They didn't get mentioned. He's talked about new stuff that nobody had knew about, that they hadn't mentioned before. He talked about a whole new patching plan, talked about how they're going to be putting stuff on the PTR and like rotating it, so there's always something on the PTR. There's always new stuff coming. You always know what's in development. And honestly, like I talked to one of the community guys, like one of the a fairly big YouTuber for World of Warcraft, and he said, "Yeah, I don't have an interview, and I don't really mind because I have nothing to ask them. Like the game's too good. Like what do I like? It's just like minor complaints about balance." So those guys are really happy right now, and I am horrified for the day it all falls over and crashes and burns.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be for a while yet.
Not for a while.
StarCraft, now, if I recall correctly, in the hazy annals of a week ago, I think we did predict that we'd get a new single player announce, and we didn't really get.
They didn't talk about, like, we didn't get a trailer, which is what I was expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as I can tell, that they mentioned it a little and went, yeah, this is happening.
Well,
which we knew about.
Yeah, that's the thing. We knew it was happening anyway. So we're sort of from that front, we're in the same position. But there was some StarCraft stuff there.
Yeah, they talked about a load of co-op stuff. It seems like the co-op stuff has just been really good for them.
Yeah.
Like better than they expected, better than I would have expected. It seems like people just quite enjoyed playing it, just with a couple of mates.
I remember being very skeptical when I was told it was forthcoming.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just like a bunch of new co-op stuff. There's a new commander. They also talked about their multiplayer plans. They announced a bunch of those quite a while ago, but they're kind of actually now that the World Championship is finished, they're going to start deploying them onto live servers. And there's like basically a big end of year patch to change a bunch of stuff about the game coming. They also talked about a war chest, which is like it's their thing where you can kind of fund the World Championship if you want to, and also get a bunch of like cosmetic stuff in game, which is a good idea. Look at the Dota 2 International; it just works.
Yeah,
League of Legends have picked it up. It doubled the prize pool of their World Championship,
that ticker,
and no doubt it'll do the same.
Yeah, and Heroes, we said new everything. We basically got new everything, as we always do with Heroes. It's just awash with stuff all the time.
Yeah, they actually got a really nice new trailer as well. They got a fairly main part of the opening ceremony. Blizzard is still trying to push Heroes really hard. I would kill to know like exactly what the player numbers are like, exactly how much money it's making. Like, is it as bad as people think?
I don't think
I don't think it could possibly be. Not with like even Blizzard surely wouldn't be like spinning its wheels. As hard as it looks like
they're either investing in it massively just to save face, or it's doing
okay.
better than we think it is, and I think the latter is more likely.
I think there are enough people. Like, I really want to get into that game. It's just that I just don't have time. Like,
it's
it
a
should
weird
be
one.
a game that I would love.
It sits in a niche that it's like sits between several. Like on the Venn diagram, it's in an almost nether realm where there's like sort of no reason to play it over and above lots of other things.
Yeah, but if you're into exactly what it's doing, which is like a shorter kind of very contained MOBA experience with loads of different stuff going on with really unique hero designs, then you could do it. But again, like I don't know why the people that play it
exactly,
other than the length. Length of games is definitely the biggest draw. But yeah, like loads of new stuff for that. 2 new heroes, like a whole new kind of like type of map. So what they didn't get was like a traditional new map, kind of like Overwatch didn't. But they got like an asymmetric thing. They're trying like a attack and defend style deal to see how well that works.
And I predicted that Diablo would piss me and everyone else off, and lo and behold, everyone's quite annoyed.
Yeah, so Diablo, I think they really messed up the order they announced stuff in, and that sounds really weird, right? But they have loads of new stuff coming. They've got loads of little patches coming over the next 6 months with loads of updates to the game that, while like that's not the sequel or the expansion that people would like, sometimes you don't get to live in that world, sadly.
No, that's true.
And yeah, it changes the game in ways that should make it more fun to play and adds new features and rebalances stuff and that sort of thing. But what they announced is that they have a Diablo 1 event coming where they're going to crapify all the graphics and make you only able to move in 8 directions, which is fine. They're like remaking the original Diablo. I'm sure it'll be nice. It should take like 2 or 3 hours to go through. That's cool. Like, that's coming like next month, I think. And then they announced the Necromancer as a new class, which we kind of got spoiled a little bit beforehand. But that's not coming until like late 2017.
It's mad, isn't it?
And they said, hey, we wanted to announce this now because we wanted to let you guys know that we're working on it. And that's cool. But what they should have done is, like, that should have been the last thing they talked about. They should have been like, hey, look at all this cool stuff we're doing. Because what the community saw was, you're not getting anything till 2017, and here's a bad remake of a game that you think is better. And they lost their goddamn minds. Like, the community was so angry on, like, the Saturday of BlizzCon. I think they've calmed down a little bit now. But if you go on the Diablo subreddit and you look at the top posts of all time, you will see a post that pretty much says, to paraphrase, Diablo 3 isn't particularly good at the moment.
Yes,
and the Necromancer doesn't change that.
Paraphrasing.
And that's got like 5,000 upvotes or something, and that's not somewhere you want your community to be. So I'm fairly interested to see what those guys do going forward, or if they just kind of keep on keeping on. To be honest, if they're not releasing the Necromancer until like late next year, we're not going to get a sequel or an expansion announcement
I think
next
that's part
BlizzCon
of it,
either.
isn't it? Like, you put that back so far, people then realise that the stuff they really want
is really
so far away that they just get really annoyed.
What's really interesting is when we got back, we took a look at the Blizzard careers page, and there's been a few updates it must have been over the last week, and there is something on there. I think it's like a producer position or like an FX designer, something like that, where it's for an unannounced project. Obviously, Blizzard has like 1,000 unannounced projects all the time, but under the like pluses is a passion for Diablo, and so people obviously are like, oh, okay, so they are making it. But the question is, like, what happened in the last like 2 or 3 years?
Unless the role is to make new Diablo games single-handedly in 18 months, it's not going to solve everything, is it?
No, it's not. It's not going to like unless they're really far along and all of this is just kind of a stopgap to get people to next BlizzCon. I think people are just going to be disappointed in 12 months as well.
Right, that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and do stay tuned next week when we will be further analysing the BlizzCon fallout, hopefully talking about the public release of Sombra and running through the rest of the content for Overwatch to come in 2016.